Hi all, welcome to another episode, or should I say another webinar. My name's Arsh, and in today's session, we're going to be talking about how to profit from finding property deals around the UK. Now, for those that were with me on a previous session, I like to make these sessions quite interactive. So if you can, just in the comments box or in the control panel below, just give me a quick hello. Let me know that you can hear me nice and loudly and clearly, please. So I can understand that you're listening, but more importantly, you can be able to interact with me throughout the whole session. So hi, Trevor. So brilliant. Thanks for logging in with me. So we've got a lot to cover in tonight's session. So I've pretty much prepared new content for you guys this evening. So I want to say thank you, first of all, for trusting me with your time this afternoon, stroke this evening. Hopefully you're really going to enjoy it. Hopefully you're going to take away a lot of golden nuggets from it, but more importantly, also be inspired as to what you can achieve when you put your mind to it, and especially with the property industry, how there are so many different strategies to approach, and more importantly, what you can do to profit from them as well. So by the end of this session, my aim is to get you to a point to understand how to get started in property with no money and no experience, because it's not necessarily always required. How to make cash flow from simply controlling properties, and I'll go through a couple of examples with that, and how to find vendors direct and negotiate some of the best deals. And in this session in particular, I'm going to be giving you live case studies of properties that I've acquired with those 3 bullet points in mind. How to get started with no money, how to make cash flow from properties by simply controlling it, and how I've found vendors direct and how I've managed to negotiate some phenomenal deals. And again, I'm going to give you live case studies for each of those so that it clearly shows that it can be done. And it's not just someone talking about it, but someone that's actually gone out and done it. Does that sound good? Give me a yes or no in the box, please. That'd be much appreciated. So why should you listen to me? Who is Arsh? More importantly, what has the authority? Why do I think I have the authority to be presenting to you today? First and foremost, I'm the founder of a platform which has become quite a well-known platform in the property space called the Property Investor app. It's the UK's first property investment marketplace mobile app, where we showcase all kinds of deals all across the country. So whether it's a BMV deal, a rent-to-rent deal, a lease option deal, we've got them all on the Property Investor app. I would consider myself to be the UK's leading deal trader, sourcing over 500 properties per year. So we trade on average over 500 properties a year, and my aim, and I'm going to talk to you about it in one of the slides, is we're aiming to double that this year. Well, that would be the plan. I'm an author and feature writer, and I'm an author of a #1 Amazon bestseller, and I'm a columnist in 2/3 very well-known publications. So that is Your Property Network magazine, the HMO magazine, and as I suggest, I've got a book out there. Lots of people got books out there, and a lot of them talk about strategies that they've done. My book is called Boom, Bust and Back Again, a Property Investor's Survival Guide. And the reason why I called it that is because, as the title suggests, property's never always been easy. I've been through some really good times. I've been through some really bad times. I'm back to tell the tale. So, and as a result of that, the book will give you a good indication as to how easy property can be, and also how unforgiving property can be as well. So I'm a property trainer, also helped hundreds of people achieve financial freedom. And in lockdown, the first version, I released a podcast called The Property Rebel. We hit #1. Sorry, we didn't hit #1. That's a lie. I think we hit within the top 5 of lots of categories when we launched, and we're still doing really well in the podcast stores. So if you haven't already done so, go and check out the Property Rebel podcast. We release a new episode every Tuesday at 6 a.m. So let's look at goals. So have you got yourself set some goals? More importantly, I suppose I should ask this question at the start. Would you mind in the comments box just almost writing down what's your level of experience when it comes to property, when it comes to sourcing, when it comes to rent to rent? What have you done? What have you not done? Write it in the comments box. And the reason why I say that is because then I can tailor this session according to you guys, so according to the people that we got on the webinar. So please feel free to put in there, hi, my name is John, I've got no property experience, or I own a couple of HMOs, a couple of buy-to-lets, whatever it may be, stick it in there and I'll see if I can cater this accordingly. So a few people straight away put no experience and beginner, and that's fine. We'll start from the beginning. So what are your goals for 22, 23? And the reason why I say that is because you've got to be thinking of your plan for what you're hoping to achieve. Are you looking to generate cash flow? Are you looking to build assets? Are you looking to secure your family's future? Are you looking to escape the rat race? Are you looking to make property pay for luxuries such as holidays? Are you looking to help get your property kids onto the property ladder? Are you looking to create a pension plan? Or it could be all of the above. And then you've got to kind of visualize what success means to you, because to some people, success may be generating sufficient income so that they can leave their job. Some people, it could be that owning a certain amount of properties. Now, success may be a figure that you want to generate. So let's say that you want to get a property that's going to generate over £5,000 a month, or you want to source a certain amount of leads. There's no right or wrong to any of these questions, by the way, because these will all be very personal to you and your circumstances and your journey. Now, the most important question I always ask is great writing down goals, but the most important question is how you're going to get there. Because we can all have goals, but if we don't understand the journey, we've really got to understand. We understand the destination, but we've really got to understand the journey. More importantly, we've got to enjoy the journey, because the journey is the most important part than destination. When you get to it, generally speaking, I'll say that the goals consistently keep moving. So when you get to a certain level, you think, oh, I'm quite good at this. I'll keep moving on. I'll keep moving on. But you've got to enjoy the journey. So for me, my definition of success is about living life on my own terms. And the reason why I say that is because I want the ability to work where I want, when I want, and with who I want. And for me, that's a big factor. I don't want to be in a position where I'm having to answer to someone. I don't want to be in a position where I've got to tell someone where I'm going or what I'm doing or who I'm doing it with, because that's what an employer will ask you. Now, for me, it's about flexibility. It's about freedom. And for me, that is my definition of success. And again, this is all very personal according to the people. Now, I'll put this quote out there. And the reason why I put this out, and I think I'll put it on a previous session, is because I think this is quite powerful. If you don't build your own dream, someone will hire you to build theirs. And I say this because if you're currently working for someone, you're currently building someone else's dream, where you should be utilizing your time to work on your own dream. So just have that always in the back of your mind. What am I doing for this person? How are they benefiting from it? More importantly, what should I be doing for me? And that's a big thing for tonight's session. I'm going to talk to you about some of the deals that we've done. And more importantly, I'm going to be showing you that how, by working for yourself, how by working towards your own goals and your own dreams, how you can achieve or hit the destination of your financial freedom or your goals. So I'm going to whiz through this quickly, because deal trading, we kind of touched upon it last week. This is just for those that weren't with us last week. So deal trading, I would consider, is a service for homeowners, matching investors to properties which homeowners have failed to sell. It's also a service which is available to investors, helping investors find properties which they may not have found without your help. And then it's creating win-win scenarios all round. The reason why I say that is because deal sources, deal traders, deal packagers, depending on what you want to call yourself, in essence, we're glorified estate agents. We've got a seller on one side. They're looking to sell their property. They don't care who they sell the property to. But ultimately, you as a deal sourcer, you're going to have some investors on the other side who are going to act as your buyers. And the buyers are going to potentially come to you to find them a property because they may lack time, they may lack vision, they may lack knowledge. And as a result, you can put together the deal and as a result, sell the deal to them and charge a fee in the middle. The difference between you and estate agents is estate agents generally will be charging the seller a fee for their service, whereas you as a deal sourcer, deal packager, will charge potentially the buyer a fee for finding them a property. So that's the only differential really. So it puts you in a much better position when you're approaching vendors, because it's not actually costing them anything. So if I am going too fast, by the way, please feel free to reach out and say, Arsh, can you go over this again? I want to get to the core of the presentation as quickly as possible. So my plans for 2022-23 is very simple. I want to trade over 500 properties. I'd love to hit 1,000 properties this year. I want to become the largest well-known deal trader in the UK. I want to create the largest network of property sources in the UK. I want to become the equivalent of Rightmove for property investment opportunities within the UK. And I want the Property Investor app to become the UK's marketplace for property investment opportunities and deals. So they're my goals. I've got pretty big goals. Now, the reason why I put this out there and into the universe is because I'm going to also ask for your help in order for me to be able to achieve some of these goals. And also it's going to be a win-win where you generate a large amount of fees as well. So there's 3 principles of deal trading. First one is the vendor. This is the person that owns the property that needs help selling their property. And then you've got the sourcer, that's you. Now, your part in this whole process is really important, because you're the person that's going to understand the vendor, understand the property, and understand how you can add value to that property. As a result of that, the third person in the process is the property investor. They're the person that's going to eventually purchase the property off you and the vendor as a result of them understanding what the vision is, how you've appraised the property, and then they're going to buy the property off the back of what your vision is. So they purchase the property which meets their criteria and pays a fee for the service. Now, we're going to talk about pain and motivation in great deal in this session, because from a sourcing point of view, let's break this down in simple method. When an estate agent comes around to your house, and I'm hoping that one of you on this session would have sold your property through an estate agent for the likes of, Connells, Reeds Rains, Halifax, whoever it may be, your move. And when the estate agent came round to your property, did they take any time out to understand the real reason why you're selling this property? Or did they literally say, yes, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we can put this property on the open market. We aim to achieve, within the region of £100,000. They don't care about the pain. They don't understand the motivation. All they're interested in is getting your listing, is getting your property onto their books. Now, the difference with the deal sourcer is that a deal sourcer may look at the property in all different types of angles. And the only way that they can truly do that is by understanding the pain and the motivation. Now, we'll talk about the pain and the motivation. Vendors go through all kinds of different motivations. So it could be that they're upscaling, they're downscaling, they're going through financial hardship, they're going through marital hardship, at the point of where we are right now. After all that's happened in the world over the last 2 years, we're seeing things like divorce go through the highest rate it's ever been. We've had new divorce legislation that's come out recently in April 2022. So there's lots of reasons why people are now selling, and there's lots of different levels of motivation. It's about understanding that level of motivation and then being able to apply a strategy accordingly. Now, you as a sourcer, you've got to use this this knowledge to your advantage, and you've got to be able to understand how is it that you can add value to this property. And then finally, you've got the investor. Why would they buy this property? So you've got to sit there with almost like a person with multiple different hats. You're sitting there as a sourcer. You're sitting there as almost like an investor yourself. And I'm going to be going through a couple of deals today as to how I've managed to do this and how I've managed to negotiate some phenomenal deals by understanding what is the pain and the motivation. So I'm going to ask you a few questions here. So what is a deal? And out of all these comments here, or all the bullet points that we've got here, I want you to tell me which ones of these statements are correct. So what is a deal? Is it buying something below market value? Is it buying a property in need of renovation? Is it something that's already income producing? Is it something that's already producing a good ROI, which is return on investment? Is it something with good potential capital growth, or is it something that is sustainable? So if you were to choose one of these, or if you were to choose a few of these, which one of these represent a deal? Feel free to comment in the box. Now, again, this could be very personal to you, could be very personal to your circumstances, to which one of these you choose. Some of you may decide that in actual fact, there's no single one which identifies it as a deal. There may be other ones where it says, well, in actual fact, all of them are a deal. So Ali has come in and says, all of them. Deep Tears says, all of them. Now, Al-Bara says, buying property below market value and producing a good ROI. Now, Peter says, I only want to buy properties in excess of 20% below market value. And, you know, again, these are all very personal to you and your circumstances. Now, to me personally, I'd say every single one of these statements represents a deal. And I'll talk to you about why in a second. Now, again, carry on from what is a deal? Is it something that has a good cash flow opportunity? Something that has good capital appreciation? Is it a deal where you have the opportunity to add value? Could you refurbish something? Could you go off and get planning for something? Could you potentially have an opportunity to take control with little capital? Is there the opportunity to use someone else's asset in exchange of time? And again, I'd like to think that, you know, between this list and the list that you saw previously, I'd say that majority, if not all of these, are what I would say represent a true reflection of what is a deal. So, remember what I talked about, pain and motivation? Here's one thing that I want you to write down, especially when you're going in for negotiation. The price is not always the motivating factor. Would you agree with that, yes or no? And the reason why I say that is because, have you ever heard of saying, you've got two ears and one mouth, and you should use them in that order? Now, those that are the best negotiators use them in that order. And the reason why we say that is because when you're speaking to a vendor, if you actually take time out and listen to what they're saying, they will, in actual fact, tell you the reason why they're selling. They'll, in actual fact, tell you what they want to happen. And as a result, all you've got to do is put together the pieces of the jigsaw. Now, I treat every deal, every property, as almost like a jigsaw, understanding what is the vendor's pain, what is the vendor's motivation, why are they selling, why do they need to sell, where are they going to, do they need the money from this deal, do they not need the money from this deal, how can we structure this deal accordingly? And if you listen to what they're saying, they will tell you all this information, and you will be surprised at how many times the price is not the motivating factor. Would you agree with that? Yes or no? Now, I've come up with a small acronym, RPSD. The root, the problem, the solution, the deal. Get to the root of the problem, find a solution, and there you have your deal. So just to recap on that, root, problem, solution, deal. Get to the root of the problem, find a solution, and there you will have your deal. Now, the reason why I love deal trading and deal sourcing, very simply, and I make no apologies about this, I get to see the best deals first. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Now, I think I showcased this one on a previous session that I've done. Now, it's property in Wolverhampton. Now, when it comes to deal sourcing, I've got to just clarify a few points here. You don't have to sell every deal. There's no rule to say that you have to sell any deal. There's lots of people that will deal source specifically for their own purposes. There will be other people that deal source specifically to sell everything. So there's no right or wrong here. Now, I'm showing you now examples of properties where I sourced and I've retained all these properties, or I've sold some of them. So there's a real mixed bag here. So here's a property. Is it possible to make £103,000 from one transaction? Now, if you speak to anyone else, they're going to say no. especially if you don't own it, especially if you don't buy it or anything like that. But here's a transaction that I did in December 2021, where I agreed a deal with the owner where they get £300,000, and anything I generate in excess of the £300,000 would then deem to be as my commission. And here's where I took a property on, and I spent £500 on getting planning permission in place. We then increased the value of the property to what I would consider approximately 435,000, but we then sold it. We gave someone a slight discount. We agreed a deal at 415. So once we've paid the owner 300,000, once we spent some, paid ourselves back, and we spent some costs with architects, etc., I walked away with £103,000. Now, how many deals would you like this? Now, admittedly, this is a bit of a needle in a haystack, but I'll show you lots of examples where you get smaller gains, but on a more regular basis. So you'll get one of these like once every couple of years where we get to make real big money, but you'll get lots of other deals like this where you can potentially do almost like multi deals like this a year. So here's another pair of properties. So I actually did a podcast on these properties, and I called it "The Money is in the Follow-Up." So basically, this estate agent approached me and offered me these two properties. Now, these are both properties that I now own. And the estate agent came to me and says, "We've got these. It's owned by the Church of England. So they were used by a group of nuns. So it was a nunnery." I put, they wanted to sell them to me for £400,000. I refused, and I said, sorry, my offer's not going to be anywhere near. 12 months later, the estate agents came back to me and said, would I consider buying them? And would I put an offer in on the basis that I could move quickly? Now, I put an offer of £200,000 in because I felt that these properties, to me, are only worth 100 grand each. Now, to and froing, we went back and we actually agreed a deal at 235, and I thought that still represented good value. So it's approximately nearly £120,000 each house. I converted both properties, so I've got a 9-bed and a 7-bed HMO. So we've got a 16-bed HMO combined. Now generates over £77,000 per annum in income, and it produces approximately £4,000 a month cash flow. Now, remember, when I'm deal sourcing, I'm always looking at it from a point of view. Is it a property that I would want to keep? In this scenario, yes, it was. It's in the right location. It's the right style of property, and I wanted to keep it because I knew I could buy it. I could turn it into HMO. I could refinance it, and I can get all my money back out the deal. Now, I can show you another example, another property on Tetnall Road in Wolverhampton. I was offered this by an estate agent at £180,000. Now, I didn't negotiate on this deal. I offered them the full £180,000. So not every property needs to be below market value, because if I knew I could add value somewhere elsewhere, I was definitely going to be able to do that deal, and I wanted to make sure that I definitely bought the deal. So I went in straight at the full asking price. I went off during the purchase process. I went and got planning permission for 6 one-bedroom flats. Now, I only completed on the deal once the planning permission came through, so I managed to hedge my bets. Now, off the back of that, once I completed, I converted the property into 6 one-bedroom flats. We then got it valued at £600,000, and we retained this property. I think the build cost was 120,000, so approximately 20,000 per unit. So it now owes me 400,000. Sorry, no, not 400,000, 300,000. So 180 plus the 120, 300,000, based on a valuation of 600,000, which means that in actual fact, this property is only 50%, leveraged. It now generates over 40,000 per annum. It gives me a cash flow of approximately £2,000 a month. Now, the key here for me is that being able to refinance it and get all my money out of the deal. It gives me an infinity return on investment. Now, how many of you guys would like to do deals like this? Because going back to my point, deal sourcing is not all about just selling a deal on to every investor. Now, I could have sold this on to an investor, but if I'm able to pull the funds together, if I'm able to do the deal where I can keep the property and it generates a income for me on a long-term and a sustainable basis, and it gets me to that point of financial freedom, you can keep these. There's no rules say that you have to sell these. So how many of you would have done this deal, by the way? Yes or no? Now, for those that may not have the finances to purchase a property, don't worry, guys, because here's a property on Avondale Road, number 40 Avondale Road. This is a property that I've got on a 7-year rent to rent. I paid the owner no deposit. I paid the owner no rent in advance. And we've got that property generating quite healthy. So it's a 6-bed HMO, already licensed, and it now produces approximately cash flow of around £1,200 a month. So remember, it's not all about, I'm going to give you a couple of examples. It's not all about buying property. You can acquire property in different methods. There's another property on the same road. So in this area, we've got, I'm just trying to give you examples. So we've got Avondale Road, we've got Allen Road, and between Avondale Road and Allen Road, so I've now got on Avondale Road we've got number 40, we've got number 56, we've got number 58, and on Allen Road I've got number 3, I've got number 11, I've got number 87, I've got number 89, I've got number 56 as well. So between the two roads, there's the best part 10 properties that I've taken on a rent-to-rent basis. I don't own them, I don't physically own them. I've taken them on a rent-to-rent where, again, they vary between a 3 and 7 year deal, but all the deals I've never paid a deposit. I think I've only ever paid 1 deposit on a rent-to-rent deal. I never pay rent in advance, and this is all down to the negotiation. And then again, produces cash flow of around £1,000 a month. On this road in particular now, I've done many talks on these two properties, where this is a 10-bed HMO on a 7-year rent-to-rent, no deposit, no rent in advance, and this is a 10-bed which produces £2,400 a month cash flow. Now, this one in particular is a bit different. This is the only property where I've spent a lot of money on works. And the reason being is that this is a 6-bed HMO and a 1-bedroom flat. So it's got 7 units in this property. Got it on a 7-year. We've got quite a long rent-free period. No deposit paid, no rent in advance paid, but I did spend £20,000 on someone else's property. And the reason why I spent that is because I knew that this property was going to generate quite a high cash flow, and I can get that money back in year 1. So I still had a further 7 years after year 1 to generate sufficient cash flow. So when you look at it from that point of view, if it's producing 2,200, that is 26,000 pounds. So let me just quickly get my calculator. So 2,200 times that by 12, it's 26,400. Now, over a 7-year period, that's going to produce 184,800. So if I was to say to you, I need to put 24,000 into a deal, but that 24,000 over a 7-year period is now going to generate me 184,000 in cash flow. Would you say yes or no to that? Because that's how I looked at it. And if I work on the basis of 24,000, sorry, bear with me a second. If I work on 2,200 times that by 12 times that by 7, so 184,800. And if you work on a basis 24,000 divided by 184,800, that gives me a return of so much. It's return on investment, absolutely crazy. So you've got to look at it from lots of multiple angles, almost like 700%. Now, why I love deal trading is because, well, in scenarios that I've just shown you, there are tenants, but if I'm not keeping anything, there are no tenants. There's no maintenance, there's no bank borrowings. Remember, you don't have to keep anything. You can sell everything. I decided to keep those properties that I've just shown you. So I can generate an income from those properties, and I can also generate income from properties that we sell. We're not tying up any money if you're not buying anything. Think of it from a point of view. When Connells come out and put your property on the open market, or they want to list your property, Are they physically buying your property? No, they're not. The only thing that they're possibly speculating is a little bit of money on advertising your property. And that's because they have overheads like Rightmove and offices, etc. Other than that, they're not spending any money on your property. More importantly, as a deal sourcer, you can deal with any property in any town, city or country, and can be starts and stopped when you require. And it can be done from anywhere around the world. All you need is a mobile phone and a laptop. And sourcing does not have to stop at property. The skill can be used to source almost anything. Now, other benefits of deal trading: there's no solicitors required, no surveyors required, no refurbishment works required, no builders or contractors, and the best thing is there's no risk. You don't own anything, so there's nothing that can go wrong. Absolute worst case scenario, you take a property on from a vendor, and let's just say worst case scenario, the property doesn't sell to your investor. What's the worst that can happen? And same scenario with like estate agents. If the property doesn't sell, they've had the property on their books for 3 months, and the property hasn't sold. What do you think that estate agents do? They go back and they renegotiate on the price, or they negotiate a reduction in price. And that's exactly what you guys as deal sources will do too. Sorry, Mr. Owner. Unfortunately, we thought we'd be able to sell this at this price, but no one's taken us up on our offer. Can we offer a reduction? Can we give them something a little bit more of a carrot to dangle on? And believe it or not, it works really well. So hopefully, by looking at some of the deals that I've just shown you, there's no need to be a one-trick pony, because if you look at every property and apply a strategy which works best for the owner and the purchaser. So it could be, could you buy the property below market value? Yeah, we look at that example of the nuns from the Church of England. We buy the property full market value, and again, we look at the property where I converted it into 6 flats. That was full market value. We look at rent to rent. I've shown you multiple rent to rent deals there. We could convert those into a lease option. The assisted sale was the first property where I generated over £103,000. We could look at exchanging and delay the completion. We could look at planning aids. There's so many different strategies that you can apply. There's no need to be stuck to one strategy. And I appreciate that one of the people on this session at the start said, I'm only looking at properties which are 20% plus below market value. Now, that is a very narrow angle and very narrow approach, because you are discounting 95% of all the other opportunities. So if we look at the deals that we put out on the Property Investor app this week alone, we've got a 4-bed HMO, we've got land in Stoke, so we've got Brighton, we've got Stoke, we've got Stesford, we've got Brighton again, and then we've got Gainsborough. So these are all different locations, and the reason why I'm putting this out there is because you can see the different types of deals, the different locations, which means that you have no barriers to, and more importantly, you have no limits to what you can do. You can work all over the country, anywhere, deal trade, and as a result, make money. There's no reason for you to not have a deal to kind of chase. Again, Coventry, Swindon, Preston, Gillingham, all different types of deals, all different motivations, all different vendors, all different agents, and as a result, all different deals that can be done. Now, when we talk about the market, you can work as a deal sourcer in all different kinds of markets. So we look at the boom. The boom is one of the good times where sellers are making really good money. We look at the bust where buyers are in control. And then we look at the trader. Now, again, go back to the estate agent model. If in a market, if in the booming market, the prices are increased, that's fine. If in a bust, estate agents are reducing prices, and exactly the same scenario. And then you've got the trader, that's you. You simply adjust your pricing according to the economic climate. Now, we are going to go through some uncertain times. Now, if we look at where we are right now, we're having a look at what's going on with property prices right now. Is there some uncertainty in the market, especially when it comes to interest rates? Interest rates are starting to increase. How will the market react? We don't know yet because it's too new. But the beautiful thing is that prices, if they come down, you adjust the prices accordingly. If they continue to go up, you adjust the prices accordingly. There's so much data, statistics, out there for you to be able to adjust and quantify the figures accordingly. How will the UK adjust to rising inflation and the cost of living crisis? How we will deal with the new world pandemic? So there's always something going on, and as a result, it always reacts, always changes some of the stats to the markets. It's about understanding how that will have an impact for you. Now, I'll put this out there previously, and I have done for a while. And the reason why I say that is because how many estate agents are there in the UK? And the reason why I say that is because we can all go off and try and find a vendor to do a deal. Now, a vendor will only ever have one property, maybe two properties. Now, what happens after you've done those two properties? You've now got to keep fishing for new vendor leads and new vendor deals. And as a result, that's going to take time, it's going to take effort, it's going to take cost and marketing costs as well. Now, I adapted the approach that why should I chase one vendor that's got one deal when I should be forging relationships with agents that have got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 properties on their books. And as a result, I did some calculations and found that there were 53,000 estate agents in the UK. And on Rightmove alone, Rightmove has over 800,000 properties for sale in the UK. So would you go and chase Mr. and Mrs. Smith for one deal, or would you try and work with a network of agents that are going to provide you deals on a month-by-month basis? Now, some people will always say, Arsh, I can't find deals in my area. Some people will always say, Arsh, I can't get an agent to work with me. Some people will say that the agent keeps saying no. And all I say to me is I'm very clear and very to the point saying, you're not working hard enough. I can show you examples, emails just like this, where the estate agents are sending us deals on a daily basis and saying, Arsh, I've got this property, you know, we're trying to sell it, but we've not had much luck selling it on the open market. Have you got an investor that would be interested in doing a deal with it? And the reason why, you know, if think about it, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions now, so I'm going to need your participation. Why would an estate agent approach me and say, Arsh, can we try and find an investor for this property? So where is the motivation? What is the benefit for the estate agent? How do estate agents make money? You've got to think that estate agents only make money when they sell a property. More importantly, estate agents have a limited window of opportunity, because when they go and approach a vendor, the vendor will perhaps sign up to, let's say, a 2/3 month exclusivity period with that estate agent. Now, if we're approaching month 2 or month 3 and the estate agent hasn't got an answer or an option for that vendor, they're going to start to panic, because the vendor may be looking to put it on with another estate agent. And we see this time and time again. So we get approached by estate agents all the time. And ideally, we look for properties that, you know, circa been on the market between 4 and 8 weeks. And the reason why we do that is because then we can approach the agent saying, guys, we may have investors that may be interested in this property. How long you had it on for? You know, maybe the vendor may be looking to take it elsewhere. Do you want to give us a shot with it? And off the back of that, agents pretty much all say yes. It works for everyone involved because I help sell their properties and make it easy for them. They still make exactly the same commission, because remember, they charge the seller and we charge the buyer. And it gives them another avenue to market their properties. And I make money from a property I simply control. And it's a win-win all round. Does everyone understand that now? I'm hoping there's some light bulb moments in there. Think about it. When you've sold a property, has anyone here on this session ever sold a property on with an estate agent? Yes or no? And when you put it on with an estate agent, have they always said that you sign up to a 2 or 3 month exclusive period with that estate agent? And after 2 months, you approach the estate agent and say, guys, okay, tell me what's going on. Why have we not got any offers? Why have we not got any, viewings, etc.? And then as a result, you may start to look at other estate agents. Now, from an estate agent's point of view, that's really bad for business, because if you're now taking that property to another agent, basically what you're telling the market is that the agent hasn't done their job and not sold the property. So that's the last thing the estate agent wants to happen. So off the back of that, the estate agent now is going to work really hard to try and find a deal for that property. So they become almost like a motivated business seller. And we work with agents all over the country. Now, the reason why I put this up is because, going back to the point of being a one-trick pony, if you're going to work with all these agents across the country, if you're going to work, so when you're going to work with all these estate agents all over the country, you want to be able to be in a position where you understand every kind of transaction type. So whether you look at every property and try and apply a strategy, and I've had estate agents where I've said to them, guys, you know what, selling this property at this figure doesn't really work. And I've had to say to them, guys, how about if we go off and get planning permission and we increase the value? And I've worked with the agents all over the country where we've done that. Agents want to be in a position where they can offer their vendors solutions, pretty much like what we do for our vendors. We offer them solutions. And as a result, I always say that the most strategic deal sourcer will be the most successful. So I'm going to talk to you, well, there's lots of property portals. We've only discussed one in today's session, which was Rightmove. But you've got to think that there's Rightmove, there's Zoopla, there's On the Market, there's SpareRoom, there's OpenRent, there's Gumtree, there's eBay. There's so many different platforms, and we've only discussed one on this session. Now, one of the people that I'm going to talk to you about this evening is a guy called Craig Webb. Now, Craig was one of the people that approached me through my YouTube and Facebook marketing channels, and he called me and he wanted to arrange a 1-hour consultation to see if he felt like that deal sourcing was right for him. Now, we had a good old chat, and he told me what he was doing, how he was approaching vendors, and what I like to do is understand, what is their current approach. And I found that Craig was good at finding deals, but not so good at looking at all the different angles. So what I did a bit of training with Craig, and I made him come into the office with me for the day, and I made sure that we monetized every lead. Now, what Craig needed was someone to follow up on some of his leads, and as a result, within the space of a month, Craig managed to do 8 deals. What he was struggling with is basically not being able to see the angle and also like appraise the property properly. So I gave him my calculator. I gave him my almost like a spreadsheet where literally you type in some figures and it comes up with a yes or no, whether this works as a deal or no, it doesn't. So if it's no, it doesn't, don't waste any more time on it. If it's yes, it does, let's explore it further. And he did 8 deals within 1 month. So here's some of the properties that he pulled together. So property in Worksop, property in Luton, we've got a property in Hull, we've got Walsall, we've got Burnley, we've got Boston. And again, it was a real mix of below market value deals, full market value deals, rent-to-rent deals, lease options, and again, a real mixed bag of some of them which were direct to vendor, some of them which were direct dealing with agents, and some of them co-sourcing with other sources. So that's another strategy that we haven't even discussed in this session. So there's nothing wrong with you forging let's say relationships with other sources where they may have the stock but they don't have an avenue to explore the sale. And likewise, you could potentially have the deal but you may not have the investors. And again, you can co-source with other sources. Now, I'm going to talk to you about a program called the Elite Property Tribe. And the reason why I say that is because, remember, one of my goals is to try and hit the 1,000 deal mark. And I can only do that if we have more like-minded members in the community. And off the back of that, I want to be able to teach you guys how to become a deal sourcing machine. Now, if you become a deal sourcing machine and you give me the opportunity to allow you to become the deal sourcing machine, we can put your deals on the Property Investor app, we can sell them together, and we can split the fees. So if you want to see more case studies of other deals that I've done, we've got over 200 properties on the Property Investor app, all sourced by myself and other EPT members. So you can go to propertyinvestораpp.co.uk, or you can go to the App Store, type in Property Investor, and download the app from there. So what the Elite Property Tribe is, it's a training program. We've got 52 modules of online training, and what it does, it teaches you how to source the 6 different cash flow strategies. So when it looks at deal trading, rent to rent, lease options, HMOs, service accommodation, commercial to residential. So in essence, what I'm teaching anyone in the Elite Property Tribe is to how to become an all-rounded property investor, so that every time you look at a deal, you should be able to monetize that lead. Now, just give you a quick example as to the different kinds of modules that we've got there. So you can see sourcing, how to deal source, looking at all the different methods of deal sourcing, whether you're sourcing HMOs, whether you're sourcing single lets, whether you're sourcing land, whether you're sourcing commercial to residential, whether you're sourcing rent to rent, lease options, we've got them all there. Got over 52 modules on the platform, plus there's a back catalogue of around 400 other modules in the back catalogue as well. So what the Elite Property Tribe is, it's a training program where we've got 52 modules of online training. So they're modules that are already pre-recorded. Now, as well as that, we've got fortnightly deal clinics which are live, where they're held with me, and they're problem-solving webinars with me. You also have a shadow day with me in the office anytime throughout the year. What a shadow day is, basically, you book a day in the office with me, and as a result of that, I get to hear the conversations that you're having with owners and agents, and I can kind of fine-tune what your offering is, so I can see what you're doing well, where needs improvement, tweak the conversation so we're turning from maybes to yeses. As well as that, I also, as part of the Elite Property Tribe, you have the ability to book 10-minute calls with me daily to discuss opportunities and support, so you don't have to wait for the fortnightly fortnightly deal clinics. We have 4 live virtual meetups throughout the year, the first one being on the 10th of June in Wolverhampton. You have access to all 400 hours plus of previous webinars, recordings and live meets. You get to JV and sell your deals to my investor database. We've got over 42,000 property investors on the Property Investor app, plus over 100,000 in my email marketing database. You've got access to all my useful contacts, and you also are in the EPT WhatsApp group and Facebook group. Plus you get access to all the contracts, the templates and the spreadsheets. Now, we always start off the EPT with what I call a 7-day property challenge. So how this works is that on Monday, the 6th of June, we're going to have a webinar between 7 and 9 p.m. Tuesday, webinar 7 to 9 p.m. Wednesday, webinar 7 to 9. Thursday, webinar 7 to 9. And then on Friday, the 10th of June, we're going to have the live event where I want you in a room with all of the EPT members in Wolverhampton. And it's a live event where we call it a down the phones. A down the phones is exactly that. I want you calling agents. I want you calling vendors. I want you doing deals. And it's a collaboration day with other EPT members. So that is 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So down the phones on Friday, 10th of June is a day looking for deals. It's a day speaking with vendors and agents. It's a day appraising deals, a day calculating the ROI and yields, a day looking at the hotspots and looking at supply and demand, working in groups with fellow EPT members. And this is only available to EPT members. So, new for June 2022, for those that are not so great at being able to do admin or can't find deals, what I'm actually going to be doing is that for EPT members, I'm going to be providing you with live leads of deals to prepare and get ready to sell. So in actual fact, I'm going to be giving you now data. And all it simply does, it simply requires you to make a call and find out some key information, and my team will then package the deal and sell to my investors. And as a result, we work on a split fee basis. New leads will be released weekly and all over the UK. So in actual fact, now what I'm saying is that as part of the training, all you've got to do, I'm giving you data. I just need you to now be in a position where you can actually make the calls. And we're talking about making the calls. We're talking perhaps doing this in your lunch hour, doing this in your lunch break and making money, because I'm not asking you to find the data. I'm giving you the data. I'm giving you and say, guys, here's what I think the deals are. I just need you to make calls and quantify the lead. So that is new for 2022. And we've never done that before. So guys, this is a real opportunity for those that want to do this, but worried that, can I get sufficient deals? Can I get sufficient leads? I'm going to be giving you the leads. I literally need you to spend a little bit of time just making some calls. Now, again, just to recap, 52 modules of online training, fortnightly live deal clinics, shadowing days in the office with me, daily 10-minute calls, live and virtual meets throughout the year, access to the 400 hours of previous sessions, and JV with me. So it's going to be part of my accountability group. You're going to be by my side. We're going to have the weekly or the fortnightly webinars, helping you with negotiations. You have my personal mobile number. You've got a private WhatsApp group. You've got the EPT Learning Journal, which is here, where you write down exactly what you've been doing. And then off the top of that, you get to join the community where you get to surround yourself with people who have dreams, desire, ambition. They'll help you push for and realize your own ambitions. And again, success is in the tribe, providing that you follow all I say to a T. There's no reason for you not to succeed. So Ashley Walker has done multiple deals literally by following it, and he's actually got his own portfolio with none of his own money. Bav has done multiple rent-to-rent deals literally by following the process. We've got Lenka, who's done multiple deals, again, following the process, and she finds that she finds it literally very easy to understand. The fact that EPT training comes with a WhatsApp support group that I can access it and I need advice is just incredible. Now, Ale has gone on to source properties specifically for his own portfolio. So he went from 7 properties to 17 properties within 1 year. And then we've got Adam Ludlam, who's done over 50 deals, and we've got Amanda Merrington that's done multiple deals. Now, these are all people just like you. Now, just so someone said, what's the cost? So the cost of the whole program is £6,000, but you don't pay £6,000. You pay half of that, which is £3,000, whether you pay that in one payment or whether you pay it in 12 payments. So you can pay in one payment of £3,000, or you pay in 12 payments of £350 a month. Now you get access to all the data. If you pay monthly, the data is sent out to you monthly. So you know, when I say data, sorry, the modules is drip fed to you monthly. If you pay in one go, it all comes out to you in one go. So if you want more information, someone said, can I put something about these links? There we go. I'm going to quickly send this to all members. So if you look in your chat box there, you've got a link. Here we go. Let me just quickly do this. Send. There you go. You've got all the links there in your chat. Feel free to have a look. Whilst we do that now, I'm going to just quickly answer some questions. Who's got questions on what we've gone through this evening? Feel free to ask away. Graham says, I'd love to take part in the June one, but I can't, but I want to join the EPT. Graham, again, if you want to have a chat, more than happy to have a chat with you and go from there. So I want to say, do something for yourself that your future self will thank you for. And again, I've got the links there. be in that position. Remember, going back to what I said at the start about being in that position where you're working on your own dreams and you're not building someone else's dreams. Now, I'm going to say that as an Elite Property Tribe member, you can also use the leverage of the Property Investor app to negotiate deals and agents and become the go-to person in that area. So I'm going to put my phone number there. I'll come back to it in a second because someone said can put the links up. So that pretty much brings us to a close on the content. If there's any questions on deal sourcing, please feel free to ask now. So someone says, Arsh, you cover the compliance side of it? Yes, we do. So when we talk about compliance, we teach you how to set up as a deal sourcer. Now, the one thing I will say is that if you're sourcing deals to present to my investors, technically speaking, you don't need to be compliant because in actual fact, they're going to be sold to my investors. So as far as my investors are concerned, they come through the Property Investor app. They don't come through, let's say, for argument's sake, Graham Sargent, because they won't know who Graham Sargent is. So in that respect, the compliance side, it will all be covered by the Property Investor app. And that's one of the benefits. So Adam says, I love the monthly payment plan. So Adam, feel free, you know, if you've got a conversation, if there's a conversation or you want me to have a chat with you, more than happy to have a chat with you, and then we can go from there. So okay, so Farouk says, will you cover all the topics or just deal sourcing? So we cover all the topics. So what we do is that we look at the rent to rent, we look at the lease options, we teach you everything about those topics, and then also teach you how to source them. More importantly, I don't just teach the theory of it. I also teach the practicality of it. Now, I'm a big fan of teaching. Everyone can read a book on what a HMO is. Now, there's no magic in that, but the magic is understanding what the HMO is and how you can utilize that to your benefit and give you the practical approach. You know, on some of the live trainings, teaching about how to source direct to vendor deals, in some of the videos and there's some of the modules there, you'll actually hear me make an off-the-cuff call to a vendor and see if we can get a deal done on that session. And that is what the Elite Property Tribe is all about. It's about taking action. It's about putting into practice all the things that we've discussed over the modules. Okay, so Graham says, can I have a quick chat with you tomorrow? So Graham, you've got our office phone number there. Feel free to give me a call tomorrow if you're free. That'd be great. Adam, likewise, if you want to have a chat about that, more than happy to go through that. So if you give the office a call, if I'm in the office, which I probably will be tomorrow, more than happy to have a chat. If not, leave your number with the guys that pick up, and then I will definitely call you back within the course of the day. So Ali says, will the live training on Saturday, so it's Friday the 10th of June, be available as a live webinar? It would be difficult to come to Wolverhampton on the day. So just so you know, it is Friday, and yes, it is recorded as well, so that if you can't, anything that I do, so the deal clinics that we do every fortnight is recorded, and they're then uploaded onto the platform. So yes, we will record the sessions and put there, and any other future events like this, yes, everything that we do is fully recorded. So when you join the EPT, do you then proceed to the 7-day challenge? Yes, you do. So that's the first week in essence. So what I'm doing, I'm throwing everyone in the deep end on the 7-day challenge. So Farouk says, will you cover BRR too? Yes, so we cover properties, how to buy, refurbish, refinance. But more importantly, Farouk, if you're looking to do them for yourself, I'll also put you in contact with my finance specialist contacts who can assist you with perhaps try and finding you the funds from lenders that could, you know, potentially lend you a large majority of the funds, and a lot of the EPT members are utilizing that as well. So that's kind of that's a big benefit. So you get to, you know, I'll put you in contact with my contacts. So whether you're talking about tax advisors, talking about accountants, talking about planning experts, talking about, you know, finance specialists, insurance specialists, these are all people that I've built a contact bank up over a number of years and have really done really well out of them. So hopefully you'll be able to benefit from those contacts as well. So question, when do I expect to get my first deal? That's one of the questions that's come up, and it's a good question. To be fair, you know, I'm going to say I'm always a big fan of saying that if you follow what I say to a T and you don't kind of deviate from it, there's no reason why you can't get your first deal within the first month. You know, and more importantly, you've got to be able to want to dedicate time and effort to it as well. You know, it's like learning to ride a bike. When you first jump on the bike, it's going to be a bit wobbly. You're gonna wobble all over the place, but sooner or later you're going to get the hang of it. And the more calls you make, the better you become. The better you become, the more chances you've got of getting that deal done. If you're only expecting to make one call and get a 100% hit rate, that's never going to happen. It's highly unrealistic. So I need you to be in a position. I need you to be in a position where you're going to be able to dedicate time to it so that you get better with every call. So Ken says, when's the deadline to start the monthly payment plan? So just so you know, program starts on the first week of June, but we only have a specific space of 30 people. So once we hit that 30 people, we will close the process. We'll close the application. So it's completely up to you when you join, Ken, but I would strongly suggest that you join sooner rather than later. As soon as you join, you get access to the modules immediately. So feel free to let me know on that. But is there anyone else that wants to ask any questions on anything that we've covered this evening? If you notice that on the previous session, I was focusing more on working with agents. Now tonight I've discussed about deals that you can do yourself personally. I've talked about how taking on properties, whether you're buying them yourself, whether you're selling them, or whether you're leasing them yourself, and how you can benefit from that. You know, again, going back to the point, you don't have to sell every deal. I've got people in the Elite Property Tribe that have only sold everything. I've got other people in the Elite Property Tribe that have sold everything that they've sourced. I've got other people in the tribe that have sold nothing that they've sourced. And again, going back to that gentleman, Ale, let me just see if I can go back to him. So Ale, this guy on the right-hand side, he sourced lots of properties, but he didn't sell a single one of them. Now, Adam, on the right-hand side, he sourced over 50 properties. Now, he's actually bought a whole portfolio of properties with none of his own money. So when I say that he's managed, he started off with sourcing everything. Off the back of that, he's actually built a relationship with some investors. So part of the modules is about JV partnerships, so teaching you how to find joint venture partnerships. Off the back of that, he's now bought a block of 32 apartments in Barrow-in-Furness with none of his own money, and he's now leased them to a housing association, and he's now, I think, well in excess of 6 figures per year based on that. So I can talk to you about all these different people doing different things, but the reality is that you need to be in that position where you're doing exactly the same. And the only way that you can do that is by surrounding yourself with these people. So you'll get to meet all these guys who are in the WhatsApp groups, etc. And then you can get to meet them because they're in the community. So there we have it, guys. Hopefully I've answered a lot of questions there. As always, if you want, you're more than welcome to give me a call at the office, or if you've got any questions, please feel free to email me directly, which is at arsh@arshalahi.com. Any problems or any questions, more than happy to help. And I look forward to speaking to you all very soon. Take care, thank you, and bye-bye.